Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting everything affect you. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to stop letting everything disturb your peace. Some people react to everything, every message, every tone change, every small shift in energy, and slowly, without realizing it, they give away their power, because the truth is, the more reactive you are, the more predictable you become, and predictability makes you easy to control. Detachment is not emotional coldness. It is emotional intelligence at its highest level. Welcome to the Pierce Mindset, and in today's video, we're talking about the art of detachment and why not reacting is one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. So let's get into it. What detachment really means? Detachment is one of the most misunderstood concepts. People think detachment means becoming cold, distant, or unfeeling. That's emotional shutdown, not detachment. Real detachment is when you feel deeply, but you don't let those feelings control your behavior and actions. You don't suppress emotions, you manage them. You stop letting temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. At a higher level, detachment is emotional maturity. It's the ability to say, I feel this, but I don't have to act on it. Why reacting drains your power? Every reaction is an emotional transaction. When you react instantly, you give people access to your nervous system. Anger, defensiveness, over-explaining, seeking validation. These are all forms of emotional leakage. When someone knows they can provoke a reaction from you, they gain control over you. But when you pause, when you stay calm and do not give the reaction they want, the entire dynamic shifts, because composure is intimidating, not in a loud way, in a quiet, unsettling way. Here's a truth most people learn late in life. The more emotionally regulated you are, the more seriously people take you. Detachment creates space. And in that space, people project meaning. They wonder what you're thinking. They watch your behavior more closely. They adjust themselves around you. That's why calm people often hold the most power in the room. They don't react. They observe. And observation always comes before control. How to practice detachment? Detachment isn't dramatic, it's subtle. It shows up in how you move through daily life. You stop replying immediately. You stop explaining yourself to people who already decided not to understand. You stop chasing closure. You let people reveal themselves without interrupting the process. You start choosing peace over proving a point. Your energy becomes selective. Your presence becomes heavier. Your absence becomes noticeable. Not because you're trying, but because you're no longer leaking yourself everywhere. The inner shift. At some point, detachment stops feeling like effort. You realize, not reacting doesn't mean you lost. It means you outgrew the situation. You're no longer available for emotional chaos. You're no longer feeding instability. You don't withdraw from life. You rise above it. That's the art of detachment. There's another side of detachment that people don't talk about enough, and that is how uncomfortable it feels at first. When you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, when you stop chasing reassurance, your mind panics. Because the ego is used to noise. It's used to movement. It's used to doing something. Detachment feels like standing still, while everything inside you wants to run. And that's where most people fail. They confuse discomfort with danger. But discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is changing. Why detachment triggers fear? When you detach, you remove familiar patterns. You stop texting again, checking for replies, replaying conversations, seeking emotional confirmation. And suddenly there's silence. That silence forces you to sit with yourself. And for someone who has been emotionally dependent, that feels terrifying. But here's the truth. The fear you feel during detachment is not loneliness. It's withdrawal from validation. And once you get through that phase, something very powerful happens. After a while, you notice you're calmer. You're not as reactive. Your mood doesn't rise and fall with other people's behavior. You start responding from a place of choice, not compulsion. And that's when detachment stops feeling like distance and starts feeling like freedom. You're no longer emotionally available to chaos. You're available to yourself. That is real self-worth. Detachment is not punishment. Let's be very clear about this. Detachment is not silent treatment, manipulation, revenge, trying to make someone miss you. That's still attachment. Detachment is neutral. You're not trying to teach anyone a lesson. You're simply choosing not to bleed emotionally for people who don't show up properly. You stop negotiating your worth. How detachment builds self-worth. Self-worth grows when your actions align with your values. Every time you don't react impulsively, you prove to yourself that you are safe. Every time you choose calm over chaos, your nervous system stabilizes. And slowly, your confidence stops being performative and starts being internal. You don't feel powerful. You are powerful. The long-term effect of mastering detachment. Over time, detachment changes your entire life. Your relationships improve. Your standards rise. Your tolerance for disrespect disappears. Not because you became harsh, but because you became clear. People either rise to meet you or they naturally fall away, and either outcome protects you. Detachment is not about becoming unreachable. It's about becoming unshakable. When you stop reacting, you stop bleeding energy. When you stop bleeding energy, you reclaim yourself. That is the highest form of self-respect. Welcome to Pierce Mindset. This is where self-worth becomes a practice, not just a concept. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and see you in the next one.